The plan was to have a baby in July, get back training, and get back playing for the start of the season 3 months later. Easy, right?
So into the camera, can you introduce yourself?
Do I say hi? No. I'm Abbie Ward, professional rugby player for Bristol Bears and England. I moved to Bristol 2 years ago, joining the club. It's a club that I believed was really leading the way in terms of the standard of Premiership rugby for women. When I started thinking about potentially wanting to start a family, something that I was very conscious of was that players that were older than me were stopping playing to have families, and I really didn't want to have to make that choice. I was so nervous to tell everyone. I didn't want them to think that I'd let them down not being able to play for the season. But the reaction, it couldn't have been better. I was actually pretty shocked at the reaction and I guess the intensity of the reaction. For me, it was almost a weight off my shoulders to be able to share that with everybody and also know that I had the full backing of the whole team. I've always wanted to have a family and to be a mum. I've definitely been inspired by the amazing mums around me. My mum as well, growing up, was pretty amazing, taking us on the adventures that she did. I always thought I'd love to have that with my children, and I think that comes into it. I wanted to make sure that I wasn't closing off half of my life to start my family. I wanted to do it alongside. I wanted to be that role model that, you know, my mum was to me and show my children that you can do both. You can be a strong woman, you can be, you know, fearless, you can be active, you can be a professional athlete and be a mum. So currently 28 weeks along and I'm feeling really good. Oh, lovely shot. Lovely shot. First trimester, second trimester had their tough patches. I think particularly with morning sickness, I definitely struggled with that. So I feel like I hit my dip and I'm now coming out the other side. So I'm feeling really good. Training's going really well and I'm really enjoying it. That guy, eh? One of our values actually at Bears is to accommodate each other. Because of the nature of our rugby programme, we've got professional players, but we've also got players that work full-time jobs. So it's always about being able to accommodate and work around each other. And I think something which probably quite early on I tried to make clear is that I'm pregnant, but I'm still very capable and I still want to work hard and I still want to be pushed, and you don't need to be carrying things for me, you don't need to be doing extra bits. Like I'll still pull my own weight, I'll still get stuck in, and I think they all know that, and they still push me pretty hard too. From coaches keeping me as integrated as possible, like that's been huge for me.
Abbie, when you're in the middle, you can go on the pad, okay? Kneeling on the pad.
Like to have a rugby ball in my hand is so important. Where I am at the minute, currently, I'm like, let's run with it. While the going is good, let's get as much as we can out of it. I'm very aware that maybe in a month's time I might be feeling very different. Baby's due at the end of July and I'm hoping to be back for the start of the season, which is mid-November. So quite a tight turnaround, but I'm excited to have that ambitious plan.
All right then, KB, finish us off then.
3 claps and then skills. Okay.
All right.
Okay. Ian Day 3. Skills.
I know
The Welsh. The Welsh. What has just happened there?
The head coach, Dave Ward, he has had a glittering playing career. Played for Harlequins before he started coaching, and now he's at Bristol Bears as head coach. Yeah, I know him quite well.
My name's Dave Ward, I'm the Bristol Bears head coach and I'm also Abbie Ward's husband. It's a really tough one for me because obviously as a coach and husband it's a very interesting role, I'll put it like that. As a husband, I just wanted to make sure Abbie was okay, and I just wanted to sort of make sure that her body was still capable of doing the things that she wanted it to do with no repercussions. As a coach, obviously I was excited to get a world-class player back, for her to come in and be a leader within the team again as a captain, as a role model.
When I first heard that Abbie said she wanted to be back for the first game of the season, I wasn't surprised. She's incredibly motivated, she's incredibly driven. If anyone is going to do this, it's going to be Abbie. So I personally felt quite daunted by the task. It's something that's very new to rugby, particularly professional rugby. So I knew I had quite a big task alongside the rest of the medical team to sort of get together a plan to make this feasible and make it safe for her, which is ultimately our main goal.
I was amazed when I heard about Abbie's plan to return to play so soon, and obviously delighted when she allowed us to film her journey. We've seen professional female athletes come back in sports like athletics and tennis, but to see a woman come back in a professional team sport like rugby, where there's so much physical contact and impact, that's really something quite different. This really was a remarkable challenge.
I love a target, I love a goal, I love a plan, and I just felt that, yeah, I want to be playing as soon as I can for Bears, and first game of the Prem seemed like no better time. One of the other reasons why I wanted to get back so soon was to get back in an England shirt as soon as possible. The competition is so high these days, and the reality is there's only 32 contracts, there's only 32 professional rugby players in England. I'm lucky to be one of them at the minute. I've worked really hard and I didn't want to lose my place. For me, it's just really important to get back playing for club, perform well enough to then put my hand up to be hopefully in an England shirt as soon as possible. There's a lot at stake. It's my livelihood, it's my salary, it's the way I support my family. It's also something that I've worked really, really hard for over 10 years, to be a professional player, and I don't want to let go of that just yet. I don't think, potentially those on the outside necessarily see it, but there's a lot of at stake, and yeah, sorry. I just heard there's a lot of stake, and there's a lot of stake, and a lot at stake. Let me start that again. We'll show you the nursery. We've got everything sorted.
Okay.
I don't think you ever realise actually how much stuff
Yeah, I think
a baby needs.
the nursery's filled up pretty quickly.
We're 1 week away now, exactly. So this time next week, yeah, she should be here.
Yeah, so this is it.
So it's simple. We've got a little reading area, which is nice. Nappies good to go. Books, train obviously. Starting to get a little bit uncomfortable every now and again, but I'm still training. My body still feels good. I feel like we're prepared, nice and relaxed at the moment.
I didn't know if Abbie was having me on or not, but she was making me sleep with all the cuddly toys at night. So I got to get my scent on them. I don't know if that was a joke or not, but I was doing it. A lot of dads feel a bit like spare parts because you can't really do too much. You can be there obviously in person and try to support, but in the midnight feed, as much as you can get up and support Abbie, you're not going to be doing it really. So obviously I'm prepped. If I go for a bodysuit, I know where to go. Socks, and the difference between socks and mitts, obviously very crucial. I've got my changing stuff in there. In that respect, I'm completely set up. In every other respect, I don't know what's going to happen. A lot of people say it puts lots of things into perspective, and already it has. Rugby, although it's been pretty high on the priority list for a long, long time, I think it becomes a distant second pretty quickly.
As a rugby player, I'm quite performance driven. I'm quite when I'm on it, I'm really on it. So I think it will be really nice for me to have a complete different focus away from once I've crossed the white line, I'm training and I'm going, full on 100%. But when I get back across the white line, get in my car and go home, I've got another job which is way more important.
Yeah,
I'd say we're ready.
As prepped as you can be. As prepped as you can be.
I think there's best laid plans and there's what actually happens and somewhere in the middle probably. And I think anything I can do to support her, obviously as a husband, first and foremost, and then as a coach.
We'll still be sat on the sofa and I can't believe we've got a person to look after forever in a week's time. I think it's just a big unknown, isn't it? I think particularly when it's your first child, you don't know what it's going to be like being a mother. I think there's more and more female athletes that are sharing their journeys and sharing their stories, which is amazing to see, definitely for someone like myself. And even just catching up with Ebony, was really good to hear, their experiences and just just have a chat, just have a mum-to-mum chat.
It is all doable. Obviously, it's a beautiful phase, a new chapter of your life. But I think it's one of those things that's not probably spoken about because you're always considered to have a baby after you've retired. But if you're still really capable and you're still able to challenge for those spots, then why not? I do think the support that I had in and around it, which have significantly helped that journey, and it's one I look back at now and I'm so proud of the example that it sets, not only for my teammates, but future generations to come.
As athletes, we have a phenomenal support system around us, and whether we're returning from injury, whether we're playing and it's all about peak performance, or whether we're having a baby, like we have everything we could possibly need. Not everyone has that, and I think it's important to acknowledge that, I certainly don't want to put pressure on other mums to feel like, oh, okay, Abbie was back, training after a couple of weeks, I should be back training. That is not the case. We're all different and every mother is different.
I won't shy away from the fact that the first time you get back in the gym after you've had little one, and those first few months, you've just got to tell yourself to take it one day at a time, one step at a time, and just, I guess, respect your body for like what it has gone through. Because I think that's the hardest battle in terms of why am I doing this, and understanding what your why is and what that purpose is, because it is really challenging and you don't necessarily feel like yourself.
I always knew it was going to be very hard. We were always going to have a pretty conservative plan for myself because, not many athletes had been through the same thing, and no, professional rugby players in the England setup had. So it was very much like being the guinea pig and working it out as we went.
I was at an antenatal class last night and they were like talking about, it was about breastfeeding, and it's like, what are barriers to breastfeeding? And I was like, work. And she was like, yeah, like it could be. She's like, but hopefully, everyone will be having a good amount of time off. Yeah. I was like, yeah. For me, it's really important to still be in training for the other girls to see, because I'd never seen anyone go through pregnancy and training. It seems to be only recent that you're seeing athletes do it.
As women's sport continues to grow and we're seeing more professionalism, we're seeing women that want to continue their athletic careers and also have families. It was great to see England Rugby's governing body, the RFU, recognise this and launch a new maternity policy in 2023.
You can have, that whole maternity period and you are, fully supported. I think it's 26 weeks that you get full pay.
Abbie was the first player to utilise the RFU's new policy, and there must have been added pressure for her to be the first player to show that it works and she could return to play.
Some people might want to return in a similar time to me, some people might not want to, and that's something which is really important, athletes to feel like they have the choice.
Knowing professional rugby players like I know, like Abbie, they don't need 6 months maternity necessarily, or a year's maternity. What they need is support then to help them get back to playing.
Whether that's yourself having a baby, your partner having a baby, or adopting, it's all really important.
It also enables the players to bring their babies with them to international camps and games overseas. The RFU covers the cost for them to bring a carer or a family member along with them to look after the baby while they're playing.
Without that, it wouldn't be a choice. You'd have to do one or the other. You couldn't do both.
I think these high-profile athletes that are showing it's possible to continue a career they love and also have a family too could have huge impact across society for other women to see there is that opportunity.
It's like pre-season, you've done all the training, no one's had a bad pre-season, no one's had a bad prep for having a baby, and then you get out to that first game when the baby arrives and everyone's like, oh. I think the goal of returning was incredibly important because all sports people will tell you they work to targets, and for Abbie she's no different, and she sets the most ambitious goals than anyone I've ever met. So for her, the first thing was how soon, quickly could she return safely, and what does that look like?
A lot of it will depend around the birth and how the birth goes. So you're almost waiting for that point to see what your start point is then going to be. And that could completely alter how quickly I can come back.
So the mode of birth was something that I'd been discussing with various healthcare professionals for a while, alongside my husband Dave, and we came to the conclusion that we thought it was the best plan of action to have a cesarean. A few reasons. With a cesarean, we felt like we could plan it, we would know exactly what we're dealing with. It would have been amazing to have a natural birth, but we just felt like there was so much more up in the air. And whilst that's all absolutely fine and mother's birth like that every day, the difference with me was my goals afterwards. We just felt like the best course of action for the baby and for myself was to have a C-section. Something that I'm very aware of is mentally things might change. I don't know what it's like to have a child. When they arrive, you know, will I want to spend more time at home? Will I want to take more time off? I've said I only want to take 2 or 3 weeks, but actually will I be like, no, I want 6 months. So I am aiming for November, and I've just got to be fluid in my prep and fluid in the plan for after. Hallie was born on the 20th of July, so just over a month ago. Today's a big day. Where are we heading?
We're heading to hospital.
We've been told we're like first, maybe second on the list, so today's the day we get to meet the little girl. It was a planned C-section, and when I've described it to people, I've said it was like going for a dentist appointment, you know, less than 10 minutes, kind of 5 minutes to get her out. And then it took about 20 minutes or so, maybe half an hour, to kind of put me back together. And yeah, suddenly there's another person in the room.
We are introducing Abbie Sophia Ward, and she is just being super cute.
Unbelievable feeling, seeing and hearing your child for the first time. So yeah, that's been a month, and we've kind of settled in to parenthood. I don't think you ever really know what to expect, but yeah, we're loving every minute. We're tired, but we're loving it.
It was so exciting. Obviously everyone was so happy for them as a couple, and obviously expanding like our Bears family. But there was a lot of then, oh, so how is this going to work? Like, are we going to see you, Abbie? Are you going to be on maternity? Like, what does that look like in the context of a professional rugby player who is very much not done with her career and intends to come back as soon as possible?
She took 2 weeks maternity, that was it, and then she was back into training. So I took a week's paternity because that's the nature of our personalities. Although we love spending time with Hallie and we want obviously to be ever-present fixture in her life growing up, we're also very ambitious and very committed people to our jobs, mine as a coach and hers as a player.
It just feels like she's not even really been away.
Abbie's like world-class second row, and line-out caller both here and at England, so watching her come back into training, it's like she's not been gone, which is really cool.
She's been present throughout her pregnancy, like even, you know, the week of Hallie's delivery, she was still doing skills, still coaching us.
When we were doing some sort of scrum stuff, she'd be watching out, just like, you know, put your feet in, a bit wider, that sort of thing.
And now she's trying to get herself back and find her identity again as a rugby player as well as a mum.
It was important for me to get back moving, and it was just also really nice to get in to, like I say, see the girl, speak to some other adults, not just Hallie. I actually found that being in club, moving, interacting with everyone, like that's where I could get extra energy from. Hi. This doesn't happen every day. I look like this is the treatment that I get every day. It isn't. We're in week 5. This is technically week 5 because when Hallie was born, that was like week 0, and week 17 is playing. So I feel like there's loads of time, but also there's no time. Especially when you like look through the plan, because I've got a detailed plan with week by week everything that I'm meant to be doing, how it progresses, different drills, everything is meticulously planned out. Then it's depending on how my body reacts, we can either pull things forward a little bit or push things backwards. But at the minute, yeah, I feel really good. I feel like we're in front of where we should be after only a couple of weeks of actually being in. Weight-wise, I don't feel a million miles off of like being pretty much normal. But yeah, at the same time, it's always the very end, which of any rehab, it seems to be like everything all at once. So you go really slow, really slow, really slow. Then in the last like 2 or 3 weeks, it's like, right, full units, full team, now you're playing. And that sometimes is a bit like, whoa, am I ready? Oh, yeah, hey? Didn't think you were coming today. Because I just didn't see you around.
Yeah, I'm glad I got my lie in.
I think I would have been a very unhappy goose if I hadn't.
Feeding's probably been the hardest part. I am trying to kind of solely breastfeed, although we have had to supplement with a little bit of formula every now and again. Obviously I'm not at home all the time because I'm back training, so the majority of the time I am expressing, and then she's having breast milk via a bottle. But it's definitely tough. It's painful as well, especially at the beginning. Like, it's not nice. You know, I think I said to Dave at one point, if it wasn't, like, everything is great apart from that, but it's something that, like, you get used to, you get into the swing of things.
What we decided to try and do early on is get into a small routine or pattern. I would take Hallie in the morning and do the morning feeds as much as possible. Obviously Abbie was breastfeeding up until about 8 to 10 weeks. In the mornings I'd take Hallie from sort of 5 o'clock in the morning till 10, 11. Abbie could then have a bit more rest, sleep. Obviously she's been up throughout the night. Then when she gets up, I go to work. At the end of that working day, we'd both then return home and obviously see Hallie in the evening. So far it's working really well. We get to spend an incredible amount of time with our daughter, as well as do the thing we love, is obviously for me to coach and Abbie to play rugby.
I think I was playing my best rugby pre-pregnancy, I think in the last couple of years. But I don't think I've played my best rugby yet. I've got loads more that I can improve, that I can carry on learning, that I can develop in my game. I certainly don't want to retire from international rugby. To have my daughter watching me play as well, I just would love her to see and have memories of me playing with the Red Rose, and maybe even walk out and sing an anthem with her. That would be pretty special. So yeah, I think it's just down to me to put in the hard work and get back there as soon as possible. I'm in kind of the main training days. At the minute it's still kind of 2 till 6, and then I kind of go home after that and look after Hallie. That will get longer and longer as we get further into rehab and I'm integrated into more team sessions. It'll then stretch out for me being here until kind of 9:30 at night. It does still seem a bit scary that it's only, it's 10 weeks away now, the first game of the Prem, and I know that there is a hell of a lot to fit into those 10 weeks.
Almost each week there are certain hurdles we have to overcome. There's still a huge amount that could go wrong or take longer than we've originally accounted for. The 2 main ones of those, one is returning to running. That's often a big hurdle that we have to try and overcome. And then the other is returning to contact.
I was a bit surprised actually with how my body handled it. And I think that's because of the work that I was able to do throughout the pregnancy. So I was always doing conditioning, and I think that definitely put me in good stead. Skill-wise, again, I've had to progress, so like static skills, and now I can do walking, make sure there's not too much rotation and stuff, because yeah, I need to keep reminding myself we are still just a month on, which these guys keep reminding me and keep, reining me in if I get too excited, which is good. I feel great. I feel like I could do kind of as much as I want at the minute, but it's about not doing too much. At the minute, I'm just doing low-level stuff, so building it up, so I'm not allowed to do any elements of contact yet. What do you want me to do?
Nothing. But you can't do anything.
I know. Amy's there, watching me like a hawk. There is the medical team at the side, keeping a nice eye on me, making sure that I'm not trying to sneak into things that I shouldn't be. Can I be a counter-ruck so she's got support? No, just a little push. Hopefully in a few weeks' time I'll be involved in a lot more of this stuff.
Forwards, if we can get one stack, a ladder and a stack of boxes, please. She's not allowed up there, Amy?
It's dangerous and she's overstretching.
I feel like I could do all of this and I'd be fine, but it's about not running before I can walk just yet.
We always have a very difficult position as physios. We have to often put the reins on these players. So the core holds that you were meant to do with me today?
Yeah.
When did you do them?
I did them on Tuesday. It's a little surprise for you. Surprise!
Okay. I mean, you know what I'm going to say.
Yeah, I know.
You know what I'm going to say. Although we kind of take these wins when they come, when she's doing well, when she's progressing, we really run with them. You just have to make sure you don't get carried away, because there's still a lot to get through and a lot that unfortunately can hold up the process a little bit, although we hope that won't necessarily happen.
An area of anxiety potentially has been around my body and my weight and how easy or difficult it's going to be to get back to my rugby playing physique. You've got to make sure that you're having enough calories, enough kind of enrichment because you're breastfeeding and it requires so much more energy. But at the same time, you're then trying to potentially lose weight and get rid of fat that you've gained to get ready for training, and that sometimes requires a calorie deficit. So it's tough because you're asking yourself to do almost conflicting things. It's really easy, I think, when you have your baby inside you to kind of come to terms with all the changes, and it's something that I was so proud to have a big bump and know that I was growing my little one in there. But I think it's particularly difficult as well. Post-birth, suddenly you have this completely changed body. It's completely normal, like I have this belly that has had a baby in that doesn't anymore and isn't as tight as it was, and there's a lot more fat on my back, particularly going back to sport, and I know like the challenge I have ahead of me, like it's very difficult to get your head around. It's about having that patience, not being too harsh on myself that I haven't immediately just given birth and I'm back to being an athlete, because that was never going to happen. You have done an incredible thing. This body was, you know, grown for purpose. It was at its peak performance for a baby, not for rugby, and that's okay. But now it's, for me, it's like, now I need to get it back to performance for rugby. I know it's always getting better now that we're into training and stuff, and I can see that. It's something that I do need to keep checking myself with and being like, it's okay, you know, it will happen. But I think it's important to talk about it because it's reality, and I think it's important for us also to acknowledge, and I have to keep telling myself, like, be kind to myself, be kind to my body, like it's done an amazing thing. It's, you know, served myself and Hallie so well. I think it was about me understanding that, accepting it, but then also realising the amazing stuff that it does do, that it can provide for my daughter. Because I'm breastfeeding, I am having to express like in the middle of training. So this nutrition room is taking on a whole new meaning with the fridge and stuff. But I'm lucky that I've got like pumps which I am pumping as we speak, as we do it. Sometimes I've pumped in sessions. Luckily, I'll just chuck it in here and grab it at the end of training to take back home to Hallie. To have sports bras that are also maternity bras, I think is great, and I think it speaks volumes about the amount of people that are now going through pregnancy or breastfeeding that are also keeping active. It's about normalising it. I want to do it and people to know that I'm doing it, just so that like in future people don't feel like they have to go and shut themselves in a cupboard to express milk, or they feel like they can't do it here. Like, it's all about just making it a bit more normal.
I mean, the decision for her to return to play is a huge decision. Firstly, whether Abbie feels like she's ready to return. I feel like that will probably be the easiest of the decisions out of anyone. Then it will be a decision from us as a medical team, so Bristol and England combined. The strength and conditioning team will also be involved in that decision. As a medical team and as an S&C team, we get the player to a point where they are fit for selection. Then essentially our job, we don't have any more say in that respect. It's then up to the coaching team to decide whether she's performing at a level that's good for her to return to the first game of the season, which is going to be a huge game for us as a club. So ultimately, he will decide if she's wearing a shirt on that day or not.
I've always said, and I'll always say as a coach, I'll pick the best team available for that opposition on the day. Whether that be Abbie, whether that not be Abbie, that's my job as a coach. And I think it's very different to what I'm doing as a husband, but as a coach, I'm quite sort of business-like in our approach.
I always say that if you didn't know that they were married, from observing them in this environment, you wouldn't know. They keep it really professional. You know, it's very much coach, athlete at the club.
Abbie probably would say that I'm more standoffish with her, deliberately so, that then there is that professional boundary. Her expectation of herself is so huge anyway, I don't really need to put more expectation on her. However, I'm still going to, because that's my job.
There is so much competition across the board. We could name 3 or 4 starting 15s and they'd all be as incredible as the other. You know, it's going to be really difficult for the whole squad.
I think she'll know whether she's there or not. If she's not quite there, I think she'll know and she'll be expecting it, and we'll have an honest and frank conversation. I'm hoping I don't have to have the conversation, but I'm also very aware that I may have to. There's a couple of stages where Abbie kind of went pretty hard.
early on, and we had to hold her back because we were like, look, you're not ready for this yet. And again, that's just about managing, and I think the physio team did a fantastic job in making sure that when it was right to pull her back, we did, but obviously when we pushed her on, she was great.
We always knew our job would be the hardest here compared to you. You'd want to run before you can walk, you want to be doing the absolute best you can be, which is obviously great for us because we love working with athletes that are as motivated and driven as you are. But we do just have to make sure that we keep those reins on you because ultimately we want to get you back by your goal, and at the moment you're well on your way to achieving it, but we want to make sure you stay back once you're back.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Okay, now we've had a little warm up. We're going to start going to semi-finals, finals. Okay, if you go through, we go to the left. Here we go. Go! Abbie goes through. She's in. She's in, and I'm not biased. I would have tried to get her out. Okay, here we go. Next three. Go! HC. Just. Good. HC. Here we go. Go! Go on, boys! Take it, boys! Take it, boys! Time. We go back. There must be a winner. There must be a winner. Go! Excellent work.
For all the conditioning and all the skills you can do, there's nothing like being rugby fit. So it's definitely been tough on my legs, and just the pace of the game. It's so quick. How we play it here is so quick. So trying to tune back into all the calls and how people move, I think that's been pretty hard. So each session it seems to be getting better, but it's definitely tough. So yeah, there's nothing like, you know, being hit repeatedly. It was very much like, this is what it feels like again, does it?
Today's what we call a dominate day at Bears. It's skills and bear fight, which is basically a little bit of rough and tumble, but just getting ourselves contact ready. And then also line out detail, and we're working on some kick-off reception stuff as well.
You can spend as many hours as you want on a watt bike or lifting weights and doing skills, but there's nothing like actually being on pitch with your teammates.
Bear fighters, let's go please! As a coach, I've got a world-class second row who hasn't played for a year, and I need to make sure that she's up to speed with everything.
Now we're getting into the real rugby stuff. For me, it's remembering everything. There's an awful lot of detail that goes into, you know, how any side plays, but particularly here at Bristol.
My job is to pick the best team for that game versus Sale. Abbie, fully fit, ready to go, is in that team. Today, she dropped a couple of balls, she fell off a couple of tackles. Go again, please.
I'm not quite there yet. My expectation probably unfairly of myself is to be exactly where I was the last time I played. I'll get there, but it's just going to take a bit of time.
We obviously want to bring her back into the squad, but she's also got to earn the right. I've got also another 4 second rows who have played outstandingly. I'm genuinely not sure which way it will go at the moment. We're right on the border. We'll need that acceleration, that power, that speed into position, and if it's not there, she won't be involved.
So whose decision is it as to whether Abbie starts on that date?
It's my decision alone.
It's an interesting one being coached by your husband. I often say it's great because, you know, when you have your down days together, when things aren't going quite right, you're in it together and you both kind of appreciate how each other feels. But when you have those amazing days, those great wins, or, you know, when you achieve something really special, you both achieve it and you're in it together. And I think sport is full of like highs and lows, moments that we'll look back on in the future and be like, you know, we're just so happy we got to experience it alongside each other.
Ali, look what's just arrived.
Who's this? Oh, what? Being a father, I think it's something that's obviously it's quite hard to describe, because only when you are a father you know what it's like to be a father. But I think Ryan Reynolds put it pretty well when he said that you love your wife so much, and then when you have a baby you would then use your wife as a human shield to protect that baby. I thought that was a pretty good analogy.
Let's see if it fits. Come on then.
The world then obviously revolves around that one person, and not only just keeping her alive but wanting her to excel.
Not surprised at all how good Dave is with Hallie. He brings so much energy. He's just great with her, and you can tell he absolutely dotes on her. It definitely changes the dynamic, but
I think we're keen to kind of make sure the dynamic doesn't change too much. We make sure that we take Hallie like into our lives as opposed to adjusting everything too much for her.
Talking about Abbie is sometimes quite difficult for me because of the position we're in as husband and wife and player as coach, and I think anyone who knows me knows that I definitely don't talk up Abbie in a coaching environment at Bristol, and very rarely do I give her praise in training. I grew up around, strong women, luckily enough for me, my mum and my sister, and then for me to marry Abbie, and kind of knew that going in, obviously, to marrying her and her ambition and the way she wanted to be, but then to see it and for her to keep surpassing my expectations is something that I'm truly grateful for, to see it firsthand, but also I'm just so happy to call her my wife and the mother of our daughter.
At times you definitely are a bit like passing ships, and especially with us both being at work, but no, we're all figuring it out and we're pretty happy with how we've settled in.
But it's been quite interesting during her sort of actually starting to do some of the more, scary stuff in terms of going up in lineouts and things like that. You start to see that sort of softness to Dave where he's like, Abbie, are you sure? Are you okay to do this? We don't have to do this if you don't want to. Are you sure? And Abbie's like, yeah, let's go. And Dave's like, are you sure that you're sure? And it's quite sweet to see.
It's very sort of embryonic stage in terms of where we are as a family, and I can't wait for the rest because I'm trying to convince Abbie for number 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. She might just want to stop at number 2.
Even before Hallie, it's always been a partnership between me and Dave. It's been about teamwork, it's been about sharing, the good times and the tougher times. And that definitely has come into its own with Hallie. So everything had gone absolutely to plan with the recovery, with the return. It was all plain sailing. I'm just going to keep saying I've got baby brain. I don't know how long I can use that excuse. I stopped breastfeeding at about 9 weeks. It was really difficult, and again, something that I found with motherhood is there's so many pressures and people saying you should be doing this, you should be doing that, and I felt like I was feeding for as long as I could, but it was difficult with training. The reality of it as well is that, it was great to be able to provide that for Hallie, but there's other things that I provide, and one of those things is, like a roof over our head, our salary, and I get that from playing rugby. If I don't get back fit, if I am not performing at the top level, I'll soon find myself without a contract and without a salary and having to find a job elsewhere. So for me, I made that decision in order to be, back invested as much as I can, but also just to make things easier in other ways in terms of home and, when Hallie's in nursery and whoever's looking after her when we're not around, and for Dave to be able to feed her as well. So it was a tough decision to make. I did feel really conflicted with it, but it's not affected her at all. She's absolutely thriving.
I don't want to be ruthless. I will. 1 to the left, 2 to the right. Okay, the first one's free, so if you mess up the first one, that's free.
Okay, 3, 2, 1.
2, 3, 9.
Oh my God!
Tom, you've let us down every single time in this game.
She's been around a lot more than she was the previous season, obviously not going away as much on international duty. So it feels like we've spent a lot more time with her and got to know her a lot better as a person as well as a player. And so, we see the hard work, we see, just how long the process has been, and we see how much energy she's putting into it and all the sacrifices as well. Being here with your husband, long days, not with your daughter, that must take its toll, especially for such a brand new mum.
Right.
One of the things I love about this club is the mentality is, it's your shirt to lose, someone's got to take it from you. So even if you've got the big names coming back from injury or international duty, or in Abbie's case, a pregnancy, she's got to earn that shirt back. She's not expecting to just waltz back in, be fit and just take the shirt off of someone. She's been off for so long, some of these girls have solidified their position. They've been the starting second rowers for the last season, and we had a pretty good season. So it's not a case of, she's just going to walk back into the squad.
Obviously it'd be really cool to have her back, but I'd like to think that if she's injured or gone for any time, I can still step in and take that place.
In your head you have this plan of exactly what's going to happen, very focused on rugby, on returning.
We played armed forces in a game. We then went to pick Hallie up from my dad's, and we obviously knew that something wasn't right immediately. We got to hospital and straight away we knew that they were quite keen to keep us there overnight.
Things spiralled pretty quickly and Hallie needed quite a bit of support.
You got doctors coming in every 15 minutes. You know when it's every 15 minutes, it's not ideal.
One of the most distressing periods of my life.
You obviously feel like, oh, what have we done? Have we exposed her to too colder weather? Has she been exposed to too many people? And as a couple, we kind of straight away made a little pact of just to support each other. We both just wanted the same thing, and that was Hallie to get better.
But luckily she got all the help she needed. We're back at home now. She's back to being her smiley self, almost like nothing happened, which is, I'm probably a bit traumatised from it. She's like, oh, when's my next feed? But yeah, this week, which for me would usually be, you know, it's when you do the fine tuning. You're about to go into your first game back after a year and you should be feeling really strong and fit. Not quite been that way after kind of 4 sleepless nights in a hospital. My mind has totally not been on rugby. It's absolutely been on Hallie. Hopefully now she's feeling a little bit better. We can have a little bit more of a look to the weekend.
Selection. I want to talk through it and how it will operate, okay? You'll get a good idea of the team, okay, by the bibs that I announced. If you get that bib, it's your job to keep it for that Wednesday selection. People have played themselves into the team, people have played themselves out to the team. That's how tight some of the selections have been. And then lastly, the way we select the team, final say comes down to me. We set the standard for training the rest of the season tonight. Okay, here we go. 2 minutes on the clock. Here we go. Tackler! 2 down, 2 over. Tackle! There's your offload, Abbie! It's not quite where we want it to be with our attack, so we're going to play another 8 minutes of that, okay, because I think we need it, definitely. Not a good decision, Abbie! Hard luck. That's us. Really tough session, lots of big decisions to be made, lots to think about, which is going to be the best decision for the squad, not just the best decision for Abbie.
Good evening. I'm delighted to welcome you all here tonight for the launch of our Powered Differently campaign, which puts the spotlight firmly on the amazing players in our league. This campaign enables our fans and our wider audience to find themselves in a 15, to find someone who represents them and can be a role model for them, whatever their shape, size, ethnicity or sexuality. We just announced our landmark TV deal with TNT. The first match of the season, the first match live on TNT, is Bristol Bears versus Sale Sharks. How excited are you about the first match of the season?
I think me and everyone involved is so excited, and I think like coming to Sale Sharks, a new club, we've got a lot of new players. Bristol have obviously got new players, they've got old players, so I think it's going to be really exciting.
Selection for the Sale game was really tricky.
To be honest, I haven't really thought about not playing the 18th. It's not come into my head and I've probably not allowed it to. I'd be absolutely gutted.
I'm not just managing Abbie, I'm managing 22 other players and I'm pushing all of them. The expectations of the standards I want Bristol Bears to hit in training are very high, and I suppose for Abbie I probably went too far the other way and picking out all the little bits she was getting wrong, where actually she was getting an incredible amount right, and I feel like it was the husband and wife scenario in that as well, that I had to push Abbie even harder in front of everyone almost.
It was really special for us, me, Dave and Hallie, to be able to get to that point, to be back on the pitch, all three of us sharing that moment together.
The me, Abbie, Hallie that we see at home is now into our work and sport life, and for Hallie to grow up in an environment where women are doing amazing things in sport as well, yeah, it's great. always a surprise for me when Abbie scores. Like, she likes to create the tries, but actually for her to be in the right place at the right time just shows her rugby acumen is still there. Okay, there's a little mistake, we pick it up, put it over the line, boom, happy days, try. It was quite nice. It was quite nice for her to do it, and obviously to see her on the big screen was great as well.
Just to be out on a rugby pitch again was pretty special, but to do that, surrounded by family, to have Hallie, and she won't remember it, but we'll show her plenty of pictures and videos and say, look at this, look at you. Really special to have you here, wasn't it? I guess that's part of mum life now, so match day looks a little bit different, but yeah, even more special. Hopefully there's just going to be more and more people that feel like they can start families. It's important for them to see. And it's important to raise awareness and have people feeling comfortable. So many more people openly speaking about potentially wanting to start families or when they might think about doing so. Because I think for so long, I personally would not even mention that for fear of if someone knows that you want to start a family, would you then suddenly not have a contract renewed? Whereas now, I don't think that's the case. So for me, it was just brilliant to hear that people openly speaking about it.
Historically, there's always been that sort of elephant in the room in that you play up until the point that you want a family, and then if you want a family, that's kind of your retirement. It gives these players a choice that you can still continue your career and you can still be a mum, and you can be great at both of those things.
My overwhelming emotion is obviously pride. Pride in Hallie, but obviously pride in my wife. I think it's sometimes hard to step back and just see how much of an incredible woman she is and what an amazing job she's done in the last year and probably the 4 years previous in terms of our relationship as well, and putting up with me and all my rugby idiosyncrasies, but the fact that we've managed to do it together and pull through and then have this amazing daughter, as well as her then going to play in that game, play fantastically well and then be a part of the winning side that's hopefully going to go on and achieve amazing things this season.
Throughout the whole pregnancy, there have been really tough days, tough weeks, tough moments, but then you get to this point and you look back and it's definitely all been worth it.
So I've been fortunate enough to have seen Abbie from the minute she told me she was pregnant right through to now. She's a natural mum. She's absolutely smitten by Hallie, and it's lovely to witness.
I just see Abbie as a mother now, and I can't really remember what she was like not being a mother. You see it in Abbie's demeanour, and people say they don't change too much, and she hasn't really, but just the way she is.
She's got a bit of a softer side now, then she's not as tough up front than she used to be.
Yeah, I think I'm still yet to find out how I am different as a player, still so early on in that journey. Hopefully I've gained some mother strength, hopefully I'll be able to increase my endurance and my aerobic capacity. But I think mentally, I think I've changed. Perspective is huge. I'm very much now about, working hard, getting everything that I can out of the rugby sessions, but once I'm off the pitch, get me home to go and see Hallie.
She's just waking up.
Hello. Are we going to read this book?
Yeah.
One thing that I've said to both S&C and the medical teams is if you need to write something up, if you want to write something up about this process, if it's going to help the next person, do it. Brilliant.
Are you ready?
My pregnancy is probably, and the training is probably going to be so conservative that the next one it'll be easier and then in a few years there won't be all these steps because they'll have been through it and they'll know so much more and they'll feel much more comfortable with it.
Last page.
Everyone's goal is to raise the profile of the opportunity for professional rugby players to return postpartum. Perhaps that's also going to help through society, because I think there are still quite a few taboos in certain areas of work that the minute you're a mum, you lose sight of what you want to do, or you lose sight of your career goal, but actually you can do both. You can be a mum and you can still thrive in your career.
Oh, you're tired after that.
I do think that Abbie's story can have a significant impact beyond sport. If high-profile professional sport can support its athletes in this way to follow their careers and have children too, then I hope it'll inspire businesses to see how they could support new mothers. What Abbie's achieved is truly remarkable, and we should be celebrating just what she's been able to do even a few months after having had a baby. Whilst this won't be the norm for every mum having a baby, I do feel that as a society we have a bit of a tendency to overly protect women. We're a bit fearful during pregnancy and post-pregnancy about how physically active they can be. This means that women can miss out on all the benefits that come from being physically active both during pregnancy and after they've had a baby, and in some cases it can take a number of years until they come back to playing sport and enjoying all the benefits of physical activity.
Can you say daddy? Can you say dada?
Hallie's going to grow up in a unique situation, I think, anyway, in terms of her mum being an international rugby player. And people will keep saying to me, oh, is Hallie going to be a rugby player? Is she going to be a football player? Hallie can be whatever she wants. And everyone knows that's the obvious parent's answer. But obviously, we'll do some extra rugby skills in the garden. There's no doubt about that. When Hallie watches this documentary back, I think she'll obviously have a great amount of pride, and obviously it's her mum and her dad, but obviously again, just the way that her life started in terms of where not only sport is, but obviously women's sport and what it can open you up to.
I don't think there have been many women's rugby players who have had children with the intention of coming back to perform at an international level. I think Abbie is probably one of the pioneers of that.
It's going to make people a lot more willing to be like, right, well, I can take this year, be like 25, have a kid and come straight back and be able to, come in as I left off sort of thing, which is really, really cool.
I guess I just wanted to show that it's possible, and it is. You can be a mum and an athlete at the same time. I think there's still work that needs to be done, but my hope is that things like this will help move stuff in the right direction.
I think what she has done and how she's achieved it is probably one of the most inspirational things I've ever seen. This is just the start of the journey now with us as a family, and Abbie's first game is, although that was the target, it's the start of what we want to come and what she wants to achieve, and I know her ambitions way exceed coming back to play against Sale in the Premiership.
I feel like I've done the easy bit, if there ever is an easy bit, which is getting back into a Bristol shirt. The hard bit will be, getting back into a white shirt and re-establishing myself as a world-class player, and I want to put my hand up and say I'm the best second row in the world.
She wants to go on and win World Cups after World Cups with England. She wants to win Premierships with Bristol.
I want to be a world-class player, world-class athlete. I want to be a world-class mum. The challenge is, can you be both? I guess only time will tell. The rugby will probably be the easy bit, and then maybe Hallie will tell us in a few years whether I got the mother part right.
That's how you do it. Stop. Stop.
I keep saying so you're just going to have to cut it all out.
Keep singing. No. I keep singing and then I'm like, oh God. Catch this one.
Don't mess it up now, Dave.
Oh, pressure.
Nowhere near.
Still got the old pace, son. Are you happy there?
Yeah. Are you happy?
I'm well happy.
She's actually been training.
How'd you do that?
On the, I forgot her birthday. Wow.
Gareth, what the f***? Jokes. I'm mellow now.